We've probably done about a dozen of these city videos now, but we've yet to include an African city, so I thought, why not check out the Stadiums of Tunis, the capital of Tunisia. I know it seems arbitrary, but that's because it is. Here are the stadiums and arenas of Tunis. Stade Olympique del Monza. Although there's been a sports ground on this site for nearly 100 years, this particular stadium was not built for the Olympics, as the name might suggest, but it was instead built for the 1967 Mediterranean Games. It's an extraordinary stadium with a peculiar design, consisting of dozens of semi-independent stands surrounding the ground, rather than a curving bowl. I wouldn't be surprised if the architect was inspired by the petals of a flower. As of last year, the stadium is undergoing a renovation. Hopefully they don't tamper with the unique design too much. There's also an auxiliary stadium that doesn't quite pass the minimum capacity threshold. Palais de Sport del Monza. This big shiny metallic dome was also built for those 67 games. The roundness is not just limited to the exterior. Inside, the entire capacity is coming from just one ring of seating. Simple but effective. During a basketball game, there is this bright orange volleyball court in the middle, which is a bit of an eyesore, but no big deal. Elsewhere in the complex is a rather interesting looking swimming facility. That's pretty cool actually. I feel like it belongs in a 1970s sci-fi film. And there's also a little tennis stadium that is more of a conventional design, with a little bit of North African flair on the outside. Stade Chedlis Witten is built into the subtle undulations of the Belvedere district, which is where all the embassies seem to be. In fact, it's sandwiched between the embassies of Portugal and China. Although simple, I quite like the design, consisting of a C-shaped stand that tapers down into the main stand, which is entirely undercover, and for that reason is often packed full of people while the rest of the stadium is empty. For a long time this was the premier sporting facility in the city, but it has well and truly been surpassed by not only the one we saw at the start of the video, but also Stade Olympique Hamadi Agrebi, which was built for the 2001 edition of the Mediterranean Games, and is the home of the Tunisian national team. Everything about this stadium is grand. The exterior, in particular the western entrance, the roof, which shelters most of the spectators from the baking Tunisian sun, the 8 spires holding it up, and of course the capacity. It is the largest in the country after all. As you can see, it also has a big flag, but I'm not sure that's necessarily a good thing. I mean, take a look at this list of the world's largest flagpoles. Those are some of the most authoritarian countries going round, so tread carefully, Tunisia. You need to hold on to your fledgling democracy, and that right there is a red flag. Once more, this stadium has a mini version next door that doesn't meet the cutoff, but it's worth a mention. Salle multidisciplinaire d'Irad. Given that it's right next door to the stadium, you'd think that this was part of the Mediterranean Games, but no. It was built for the 2005 World Handball Championship. However, I think it would have been built regardless, because there's no arena in the city of anywhere near this size, and it has since gone on to host plenty of big events. Speaking of Tunisia's fledgling democracy, this arena actually started out its life being named after the coup d'etat that brought the former dictator into power. Stade Henni Enefa. I thought that it couldn't get much more unusual than the first one we saw, but I think this stadium might just take the cake. The western stand is business as usual, more or less. It's over to the east where things get unconventional. Not only does it look a bit like a step pyramid, but in both corners there is a castle tower. It reminds me a little of Ryan Field in Chicago. Either that or a White Castle burger joint. Regardless, it's a very interesting stadium. Oh, I should also mention that it took around 30 years to build due to numerous disruptions. There is this stadium here, but I could find literally no information about it. I just thought it was worth including. So there you have it. They might not all be world class, but there are certainly some interesting stadiums amongst them. Consider subscribing if you're new, and as always, thanks for watching. Have a good one.